Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you for your time checking my video. This is my review of the third reissue of the Mafex Batman Hush version of Superman. If you are new to my channel, please leave a like and subscribe if you like my videos. This will really help me a lot in making more of these videos. As I said, this is the third reissue of the Batman Hush version of Superman. This is actually the very first time I bought this. I wasn't able to buy the original and the second reissue, so I won't be able to compare or say any improvements or difference in this third reissue. I'm just gonna review it as a new figure. I'm actually one of those person who started at Mafex early, and I guess those who are like me will remember all those QC nightmares that were there when Mafex is just starting. So basically, after buying around, I don't know, maybe five or six of their initial figure releases, I stopped buying Mafex because of those QC issues. I just started buying Mafex again just lately, just this year, because I think they were able to figure out the game now and improve a lot on their figures. I know that there are still a few QC issues on the figure, but it's not as worse as when they were just starting. Now, this Superman Hush, as per those who were able to buy it initially and the second reissue, said that this is basically their definitive Superman. Now, looking at it, I think that's a possibility. So let's start with the review. Now, let's first take a look at the packaging. Now, I don't know if there's any difference on this packaging compared to their initial and second reissue, but that drawing at the back of the box, I'm really a fan of it. I like that they put that in there instead of just a being blank box inside. So it's a Superman based on the Batman Hash version. Then it says Batman Hush here, then at the back, then there, a nice picture of the figure. At the top, it says Batman Hush, which could be confusing because it's a Superman figure. But yeah, I know that this is based on the Batman Hush storyline. So in here, it shows that, yeah, I think this figure includes this hand, the one with the kryptonite ring that is suitable for the Batman figure. That is another figure that I'm waiting for a reissue. I wasn't able to get that. So I'm hoping that now that they reissued Superman, they will reissue this. Otherwise, I don't really buy from scalpers because right now I think the price that I see for this is almost twice or three times. And there's no way I'm gonna buy that. So like Superman, I'm just gonna wait for the reissue because sometimes it's better to wait for the reissue when it comes to Mafex because they usually include some improvements, especially if the initial release of the product had some QC issues like loose joints or something like that. And as I said, I'm just going to review this like a new figure because I don't know anything about the initial release and the second release if there's any problem on them. I wish they reissued this Batman Hush also because this figure looks really good and I am more of a Batman fan than a Superman fan. If they don't, well, I'm okay with their coming future releases like the Nightfall Batman. So that's the packaging. For the accessories, he has this alternate head, which I think is the one that we will use for the infected version, because I know that in this storyline, Superman was infected by poison ivy. And then there's this tree effects, vine effects, which I guess we can put on his hand and on his neck. And then, as I said during the review of the packaging, this is Batman's kryptonite hand with the kryptonite ring. And then it comes with, I think this is the flying hands. And then he has these grabbing hands. And then he has these semi-open hands. And then he has this other closed fist hands, which at the first time I thought was like the same as the one that is defaulted on the figure from out of the box, but I think there's a little difference because the fingers here are a little semi-open. So I don't know why the purpose of this hand, because basically it's a closed fist hand like that one. I'm not sure if you can call this an accessory, but basically this is the standard Mafex stand that always comes with their figure. It is a good addition, but I just wish that Mafex will improve their stand, because I think this is pretty outdated, and what I don't like about this is that it tends to get loose very fast. I know that you can tighten it with the screw here, but through time there will come a time that, I don't know, the thread will become loose, and no matter how much you tighten the screw, it's just gonna become loose. It's just loose. So I hope they improve or change their design on this stand. I like the idea, but as I said, through time they lost thread and they became loose. Now, having this figure on hand, I could say that, yeah, just from the aesthetic alone, I agree that this is definitely the definitive Superman figure that I'm going to consider in my shelf. I mean, the head sculpt is perfect, and then I like that they added some, I'm not sure if it's showing in the camera, but aside from the blue, they added some dark shading, which helps in defining the sculpt of his muscles more. So yeah, I love that. The S is just painted though and not sculpted, but I don't have a problem with that. I'm okay with reusing body molds as long as it works, and this definitely works. Paint work on the yellow and the trunks is okay, and then just like in the hands and in the body, the leg also have some dark shading, which helps in well, not really that much, unlike in the hands, which really helps in defining those muscles. In the leg, there isn't that much dark shading, but I think there is a little here to define the muscle. But anyway, as far as the sculpt and the paint, this is amazing. And then add to that, the Mafex always uses a cloth material on the capes, so no need for any custom cape. And then at the time, there's that S, which we all want. So that is amazing. Then looking at the back of the figure, yep, definitely nice, very nice sculpt there. It definitely shows the muscle of the figure that is Superman. So aesthetic-wise, it passed for me. Yeah, I'm starting to think that this is really the best Superman figure out there. I also love the way that they attach the cape. It looks really clean and more realistic. It doesn't look awkward, so yeah, the placement of the cape looks good. I know that on the some pictures of the Batman Hush, I mean the Batman figure, one of the problem that I saw when I saw a figure on hand is that his cape connection is not as clean as this one. That's why I didn't buy it. But I started to regret it because I never knew that the Batman Hash was really that expensive now when you look at it online. Because at that time, they were offering me the Batman Hash figure at a regular price, but it was it's not meat in box and it came from out of the box, so I was a little skeptical that the figure has some hidden issues. And one of the things that I noticed, as I said, is that the cape of that figure is not as clean as this one when it comes to the connection. Anyway, let's go back to Superman. Enough of the Batman. But for articulation, this head can do that. It has a ball joint on the head, and I think even on the neck. Yep. There's also a joint in the neck, so it can do that. Can look up. Yeah, that's good. That's perfect. That's perfect for flying poses. Then can look on the side. So yeah, as far as the head is concerned, that's a perfect articulation. So for the hands and shoulder, it has that. It can do the T-pose, and then it has that, that ball socket, which can do that. I don't want to say that that's for the butterfly jump because it is not, but it does help in posing him like that. Great. So far, joints are tight. If you can hear the kicking, yeah, the joints are really tight. So I don't have a problem with the joints in the hands. Let's see the other side. Yep. The joints here are pretty tight, so that's good. So that's rotation there, and then double jointed elbow, hands articulation. Yeah, for the hand, perfect articulation. And then for the ab crunch, it can do that. It can do side to side. It can looking up and down is actually kind of limited. Then there's this waist rotation, but I think if you combine the waist, so the rotation, the articulation and looking down is mostly on the waist, so that's okay, that's good. It can do that much. Then looking up, it can do that much. So that waist articulation helps a lot when it comes to the abdominal articulation. Yep. Now for the leg, there's a drop down. Then you can kick that far. Then I can kick back that far. It can do that much. And then he has a toe articulation. Then nice ankle rocker. Then it can do the bend down up to that. So yeah, for the articulation, I gave it maybe an 8 out of 10. So pretty good for a Superman figure. Now just to give you an idea on how he looks like when you put him in the infected version. So that's it. That's how he look like. Overall, I agree. This is definitely the best Superman figure I've ever had. This is gonna be my definitive Superman figure. Now, maybe some people would say, well, it is way too expensive. But to be honest, it will be expensive if you're gonna be buying it from the secondary market, or what I call sometimes the scalper price. Never buy any Mafex figure from the secondary market, because that will definitely be the scalper price and they will be so expensive. Just wait for a reissue. Me, to be honest, what I'm doing is I buy through the Japanese store's online shop and wait for a reissue of the figure. This has Superman I've been wanting for years now, but I didn't really surrender or and buy them online because in here in the Philippines, I usually buy my toys at Shopee, and in that online store, the only store that I see selling this sells it at almost three. And now that I bought it at reissue price, now I can say that they are trying to sell it to me at 3 times the value, which for me is way too much. I'm okay with buying markup if I'm late in buying it, but my maximum is at least a 30% to 40% markup, because if I'm gonna buy it online, I will be able to save on gas and toll, because here in the Philippines, I live in Pampanga. So if I'm gonna look for rare toys that I want to buy, like this Superman Hush, I'm gonna go to Manila in Green Hills. So that will cost me gas, toll, which I believe will almost equal to like 30 to 40% markup to its original price. So I'm okay buying it in the secondary market if it's only gonna be equal to a 30 to 40% markup. But aside over that, I don't think it's gonna be reasonable. So it did paid off that I didn't buy it in the secondary market, because now I was able to buy it on its third reissue, and it's really cheap. Basically, I bought it really cheap on the third reissue, and I'm not sure if there are any improvements here. Based on my review, for those who own the first and the secondary release, can you leave in the comment if there's any improvement you saw from this figure? Because as I said, this is the first figure, the first time I own this, so I can only comment on this as a new figure. I don't know if there are any issues on those initial and second release, and I'm not gonna be surprised if there are, because it's Mafex, you know. And now, other figure that actually reissued before this one is the Catwoman. So that was reissued. I'm just not sure what happened, because I think the store that I bought on had a little problem with their shipping. So I actually bought that Catwoman figure, that Mafex Catwoman figure, before this Superman. So I'm surprised that this came first, and that was just shipped today. So maybe in around 1 or 2 weeks, I'll be able to receive it. That's another figure which is way overpriced. I think that online that is like double the price, and now when on this reissue price is basically less than 50% what they were offering now on the secondary market. So that's just a bit of advice. If you like Mafex and you're thinking that they're too expensive, for me to be honest, they are not. As long as you are patient enough to wait for the reissue for the figure that you like, that you were not able to buy originally to be reissued, like this Superman Hush. I'm really so glad that I waited for this one and not give up and not just give in on those scalper price. Because as I said, they were trying to sell it to me at 3 times the price. And if you will look at it, as you can see based from my background, I'm a fan of Mafex. And these are all something that I bought on their initial releases. I'll never buy a figure on the secondary market. And if you will look at it, for example, this Superman Hush, when you buy it, this is basically the definitive figure. Aesthetically and articulation wise, it's definitely acceptable for a Superman figure. At the same time, you are having both the infected and the regular version. While if you're also not new to my channel, you know that my main line is the McFarlane DC Multiverse, specifically the Batman. That's them. And based from the Hush figure, the Hush version of Superman that McFarlane releases, you basically need to buy two figures in order to have both the infected version and the normal version. And those are also sculpted. You are not lucky if you are lucky if you are gonna be able to buy them at retail price, but basically those are sculpted. Those are scalpers target in my area. So, and the price for this one single McFarlane, for this one Mafex figure, which is already both the infected and normal version, is basically cheaper compared to the two McFarlane figures that I bought, which is basically the infected and the normal version. And to be fair, I bought them at secondary market, so they have a little bit of a markup, maybe like a 20% markup. So combining the price of those two McFarlane figures to the reissue price of this figure, this is like 10% less, to be honest. So so that's just a little bit of advice for those who want to start collecting Mafex. One of the main issue that I hear from the people is that they are way overpriced. But to be honest, based from if you will be able to buy them at their original retail price, they are worth the price, because you're basically gonna have the ultimate version of the figure, and you don't have to go with the style of not just McFarlane, also Marvel Legends, wherein you have to keep buying the same figure just for a little bit of tinkering that they do to show you different version of the figure. But in this case, like this one, you already have both the normal Hush version of Superman and also the infected version. So for me, that is worth the price.